Now I'm going to show you how to adjust the rear brake, which is operated by the brake lever on the right grip. The brake lever should start showing resistance about halfway through its travel and then get tight. This one goes all the way in because it's not adjusted properly. What we're going to do first is go down here to this barrel adjuster and we're going to screw this all the way in. All cables have a barrel adjuster and a lock ring. We're going to put the lock ring down against the barrel adjuster and screw the barrel adjuster all the way up until it's tight. As the cable stretches over use and time, you can adjust this downward this way to take up the slack and then lock this in position with the locking ring. But to start off, we're going to go all the way up as if the cable has not stretched at all. The next thing we have to pay attention to is the brake down here on the rear wheel and where the pads are. When the brakes come, the pads may not be aligned with the rear rim. We have to adjust this with a 4mm wrench right there. Here's another barrel adjuster here. We're going to make sure that barrel adjuster is also screwed all the way in. And this is the lock ring with a little rubber O-ring on it there. And we want to make sure that the cable coming through this way is seated all the way inside the barrel adjuster when we start. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take the 4mm wrench and adjust these pads so that they align with the rim. I'm going to loosen that up. I'm going to slide this back. Now, these pads can move in this direction and they can also move in this direction. So what I do is I loosen it, align it with the rim, and then reach through the spokes to the other side, pull the pad up against the rim where I want it to be, and then tighten. Like that. And then like that. Now it will meet the rim at the correct location. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to rotate the crank arm around so that that's out of the way. Once again, you see the brake pad is not aligned with the rim. I'm going to loosen that screw that holds the brake pad, move it up to where it's in position, reach through to the other side, squeeze these together so that that's sitting on the rim in the proper location, and then tighten. Now the brake pads will connect to the rim where they're supposed to. Okay, now that we have the brake pads aligned for the rim, we're going to adjust the length of the brake cable. Now, there's a brake cable clamp here, the clamping screw, that requires a 5mm clamp to release. Okay, and there's a quick release on this caliper that will open it up. This one has a lever here and opens that way. Some of them have a slightly different one. Once we open this, we're going to take this loose clamping and we're going to pull as much cable through as possible. Don't pull off the end of the cable, and make sure over here that your cable housing is inserted all the way into that barrel adjuster. All right? Pull as much cable as you can through with the calipers open. Clamp onto that screw, or clamp onto the cable with the screw with your 5mm, and then close the quick release. Your brake pads are now close to the rim. You can spin the tire and show that they're not touching. And now we're going to go up to the brake handle or the brake lever and make the final adjustment. Now that we have this adjusted back here, the last thing to do at this level is to put the cable guide into the frame to protect the cable. This brake cable is a little wider than the one on the shifter. It might require a little more pressure to get it in, but it will go in the frame like that and protect the cable. Now when I pull back on the brake lever, I can feel a resistance, and I'm going to check to see if the parking brake works. There's a pin over here that you push in, release the brake lever, and it holds the lever in a clamp position. If this secures the rear wheel won't turn as I push the vehicle forward. I move the vehicle forward, the rear wheel moves a little bit. That means I need some adjustment on the cable length. I'm going to push this in, it releases the brake pin. Now I'm going to back off the barrel adjuster here a few turns, and I'm going to check that brake pin again and make sure that that secures the rear wheel. Doesn't move, this is adjusted properly. I can lock it into place with the locking ring. The right brake is now adjusted properly, so you're finished.